Hey guys, it's Chelsea from The Financial Diet, and this week I wanted to talk to you about all of those items in your closet that you should never throw away and what you should be doing with them instead. With the rise of the Marie Kondo phenomenon, there is a renewed desire to go through all of our various belongings and throw them to the winds. And I am definitely someone who's been guilty of that in recent times myself. And of course, this doesn't necessarily mean throwing these items all in the garbage, but for many of these items, it does. We are often conditioned to think that if an item is in a certain condition or hasn't been used in a certain amount of time, then it's basically worthless. But that is very much not the case, and not just in terms of giving it to someone who might use the item, but even how it can be put to use in your own life. And while there are many items throughout both our closets and our homes more generally that probably should go in the recycling if we're being totally honest with ourselves, there are many items, particularly in our closets, that can be much, much more valuable to us. So just because you're condoing some stuff doesn't mean you have to be condoing everything. And even amongst the things that are leaving your home, there are often much smarter things you can do with the item than just throwing them away. All of that to say, here are 6 items from your closet which you should never throw away, and what you should do with them instead. Number 1 is anything vintage. I'm actually someone who has a fair amount of vintage clothing and accessories that I inherited from my grandmother. And while a lot of them are simply too sentimental or too beautiful for me to consider selling them, the items which I know I will never wear and which frankly don't and could never fit me, I should be selling. Places like consignment shops, eBay, specialty online retailers, these are all places to get surprisingly decent money for vintage items. And the truth about vintage is that although there can often be a huge sentimental reason not to sell something, think about it logically. Is that beautiful silk dress that you inherited from your grandmother, which is and always has been 3 sizes too small for you, really going to have a happier existence in this universe if it's sitting in the back of your closet collecting mothballs, or if it's on the body of someone who can wear it and will love the hell out of it? Vintage items are very dissimilar from other old used items in your closet in that they can often retain or even occasionally go up in value. And so much of the vintage clothing and accessories market is about pairing the special piece with the special person who will love it. So it doesn't mean that every vintage item in your wardrobe has to immediately go on Poshmark, but it does mean that you should really take time to consider if each of those items is really getting enough use to justify keeping, and if not, who could love it more? Frankly, even giving a special vintage item to a friend can often be a better solution. But vintage items are the most likely to have some resale value in your closet, so always make sure to check the option of selling them before you're simply getting rid of them. Number 2 is socks. Once your socks get all worn down and unusable, or they lose their mate in a tragic dryer incident, they are the perfect tools to use as little dusters and wipe down cloths. For example, taking that holy old sock and putting it over your hand as like a little dusting glove and going over things like your frames and your bookshelf and whatnot is just as effective as a fancy duster or those expensive microfiber sheets you have to replace. They basically become like cleaning sock puppets. And you don't have to worry about them getting all gross because they're already gross. And especially athletic socks are made of pretty durable material, so you'll be able to get a lot of scrubbing power out of them. And when they get dirty, you can simply throw them in the laundry with your other cleaning rags, towels, etc. Socks, the unsung hero of the wardrobe. Number 3 is jeans. So basically everyone who's ever lived, in my opinion, in any kind of culture that wears jeans has at one point or another had a pair of jeans that is just lingering sadly in the back of their closet because they have not been able to wear them for a very long time. And whether these jeans are sort of slightly taunting you with the fact that you haven't been able to fit in them for years, or they're jeans that just do not go at all with your wardrobe and look incredibly dated, or they just don't fit your lifestyle anymore, a pair of jeans that do nothing but sit there are never going to be a good use of closet space. But one thing that an old pair of jeans can be good for is patching up other pairs of jeans, especially in areas like between the thighs where jeans might end up wearing out, but you don't want to totally throw them away because they really look cute otherwise. Provided that these jeans are the same wash, you can totally mix and match. And if you're not totally handy with a needle and thread, there are also iron-on adhesives that will help you do the trick. You can even use them to patch up holes or lengthen a pair of jeans. And particularly when the fixes are in more aesthetic locations, like say on the knee or toward the bottom of the jean, even having mixed washes can be a really cute look. And of course, if you have any pair of jeans that are nice quality and have never or barely been worn, you should definitely think about selling them. Do not let any pair of jeans taunt you. Number 4 is t-shirts and undershirts. One of the greatest uses for old t-shirts and undershirts is to use in place of rags and paper towels. You can of course use them to help clean up messes, but you can also use them for things like staining furniture or greasing up a bike chain. If you're an American, statistically speaking, you are using way too many paper towels. And you don't need to be spending on these special cleaning rags when, in many cases, they're just clothing material. I work in an industry where I come in contact with an unusually high number of really ugly promotional t-shirts. And trust me when I say that they have all found their way into use as rags. Of course, you can also keep them around for use when you're painting or doing some other messy activity. And frankly, if you have enough ugly t-shirts, you can even use them to stuff things like poofs, pillows, ottomans, etc. The point is, old ugly t-shirts have many, many uses. And if they can help you cut down on the environmental issues of constantly going through rolls of paper towels, all the better. Number 5 is packing materials. One of the things that is really useful to keep is all of the packaging that comes with items that you order online. Everything from padded envelopes to tissue paper to bubble wrap to cardboard boxes can be used to do things ranging from sending out a package with having to go to the store to get the right supplies, to wrapping up an awkward to wrap gift. If you have a fair amount of storage in your home, you can even keep boxes from things like furniture purchases, which will come in super handy the next time you're moving or having to transport something large. But at least keeping all of that packaging from the apparel items that you get will ensure that you way cut down on the times you have to run to the FedEx store or wherever you buy your stuff to get a box to package that weirdly shaped item that you're trying to wrap for your mother. Plus, not to bang on about it, but the more uses we can get out of these items, the less we have to be replacing them and remaking them. Environmental win. Lastly, number 6 is tennis shoes. So if you are someone who goes through a pair of tennis or running shoes every year, and I will be transparent here and say that I do not run, but I do go through a pair of white Keds slip-ons every year because 1 year of white Keds slip-ons is all you get per Keds slip-on. You know that it feels sort of bad to throw these items out, even though they've clearly lasted past their expiration date, and you can't really keep using them. The good news is there are tons of organizations which specifically take people's old, sometimes damaged, or at the very least aesthetically not so great tennis and running shoes. If your tennis shoes are completely beyond normal use, you can donate them to organizations like Nike's Reuse a Shoe, which uses them to repurpose into things like athletic courts, running tracks, playgrounds, etc. But if they're still very much usable and just not the level of cute you necessarily want them to be, you can donate them to organizations like Give Your Soul, which collects shoes and distributes them to those in need. There are even stores that participate in programs where if you donate a pair of these shoes, you can get little rewards, bonuses, and coupons. But even without that, isn't it nice to know that you're doing something good with your old shoes rather than just throwing them out in sadness at how ugly and worn out they've gotten? Now listen, unless you're sitting on some really pricey items you could possibly resell, or were using 700 rolls of paper towels every week and are now going to completely cease spending money on them, chances are you're not going to save an enormous amount of money overnight by making these changes. But the point is to really think through every time you're about to get rid of an item, what you could be doing with that item instead. Whether it's saving on using disposable paper towels or microfiber sheets, or it's reusing the packaging that you get from online purchases to wrap your own things, or repurposing or donating an item of clothing or, say, a shoe, the point is to be really making a conscious choice every time you throw something out. It should frankly be the last resort. There are often 100 more useful and beneficial and possibly even profitable things that you could be doing with your old items. But starting with these ones from your closet is a great place to start. As always, guys, thank you for watching, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button and to come back every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday for new and awesome videos. Bye!